you step over there?
It's not clerk and jury. You solemnly swear the evidence in the court and jury in the case now and hearing the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you. Thank you. Thank you. Just need you to really speak loudly into that microphone. Thank you.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Lally.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the jury?
Michael Camerano, Camerano.
And where do you live, sir?
292 Mechanic Street in Canton.
So I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up, please, okay?
And, sir, if you want that microphone to adjust around to whatever's comfortable, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you lived in Canton?
18 years.
And that residence you live at, who, if anyone, do you live there with?
My wife and 2 children,
And what's your wife's name?
Catherine,
And how old are your 2 children?
16 and 13.
And the 16-year-old, is that a boy or a girl?
Girl,
And your other child, is that a boy or a girl?
boy,
Now, your wife, how long have the 2 of you been married?
25 years.
And do you work, sir?
Yes.
What is it that you do for work?
Labor's union.
And does your wife work as well?
Correct.
And what does she do?
She's a nurse.
Now, sir, if I could turn your attention to January 28th, 2022. Do you recall that date, sir?
Yes.
And were you working that day?
Yes.
And do you recall what day of the week that was?
Friday.
And following work, what did you do after work?
I went home, did some stuff with the kids.
And during the time that you were home, who, if anyone, did you speak with, either via phone, text?
I was talking to John O'Keefe.
And with regard to John O'Keefe, how did you know John O'Keefe?
I met John 7 years ago.
And how was it that the 2 of you met?
We met through mutual friends, and then our kids became very friendly.
And the mutual friends through whom you met, who were they?
The Robertses,
And what are their first names?
Kurt and Kerry.
And starting with Kurt Roberts, how do you know Kurt Roberts?
I grew up with Kurt.
Where did the 2 of you grow up?
Milton.
So you've known Kurt Roberts most of your life, is that correct?
Correct.
And you mentioned that, so you have 2 children. How many children did Mr. O'Keefe have?
2.
And those 2 children, as far as their ages and genders, what were they in relation to your 2 children?
Same.
So 17-year-old girl,
13-year-old son. Yes.
and were each of your 2 children friends with Mr. O'Keefe's niece and nephew?
Correct.
Now, as far as friends were concerned, starting with your children and Mr. O'Keefe's niece and nephew, how close friends were they?
My daughter was extremely close.
And extremely close with John
Kaylee.
O'Keefe's niece, Kaylee?
Yeah. Yeah.
And with reference to your son and John O'Keefe's nephew, Patrick, what was sort of the nature of their relationship?
They were close also.
And as far as activities, what, if any, sort of activities did your kids do with Patrick and Kaylee?
Patrick and Michael played baseball together. Kaylee and Madeline played basketball. Soccer also.
And John O'Keefe, how would you describe your relationship with John O'Keefe?
We were close. We did a lot of stuff together. Pick up the kids, drop the kids off. We coordinated a lot of stuff together. We're friends.
And your residence versus, you're familiar with where Mr. O'Keefe lived, correct?
Yes.
Where did he live?
Meadows Ave.
And about how far away is Meadows Ave from where you live?
5 minutes.
Now, with regard to the girls, and by that I mean your daughter and John O'Keefe's niece,
Mhm.
Kaylee, what, if anything, was going on with them on that particular day?
They both received acceptance letters to go to school.
And which school was that? Is
Bishop Fan?
that a private school?
Yes.
So at the time of this in January 28th, 2022, what grade was your daughter and Kaylee Furbush?
8th grade.
And so this would have been going into 9th grade or high school, is that right?
Correct.
And what, if any, conversation did you have with Mr. O'Keefe in reference to that at some point in the afternoon?
We were both excited. They both received acceptance letters, and we wanted to get the kids together.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'm directing your attention.
Show counsel.
So I'm showing you the document.
Okay.
Just as far as specifically with reference to page, starting on page 188 of that document, if you could just look at that briefly and look up when you finish.
So I'm going to instruct the jury on this. These are text messages, right? All right, so folks, before you consider any electronic communications in your deliberations, you must first find that it's more likely true than not that the person who authored or sent these messages is this witness and or John O'Keefe. If you do not find that it's more likely true than not that the messages were sent or authored by Mr. Camerano or Mr. O'Keefe, then you may not consider the electronic communication in deciding this case. Okay? Go ahead, Mr. Lally.
May I approach this briefly again?
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry. Before I do that, Mr. Camerano, do you recognize what's depicted on that page that I just showed you?
Yes.
And what do you recognize it to be?
Text messages.
And those text messages that you had back and forth with Mr. O'Keefe on that date of January 28th?
Correct.
Your Honor, the call will seek to introduce and admit the full essentially elected exhibit.
Okay, is there any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Exhibit 48.
Thank you.
Mr. Camerano, bring your attention back to page 187 of that document. Do you see anything in there listing sort of participants in a text communication or conversation? On the bottom of the page.
Yes.
And as far as who are sort of listed as the participants in that conversation that comes to follow on the next page? Sorry, so just from page 187. From
My wife.
your wife and who, if anyone else?
John.
And your wife, John, and is your number there as well? Sorry, you have to.
Correct.
So essentially, that's a conversation between yourself, your wife, Catherine, and John O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
Now, beyond sort of your memory of that, as far as the numbers that are associated with those names, do you recognize any of those numbers as being yours, your wife's, and John O'Keefe's?
No, there's just 3 numbers there.
Now, sir, if I could ask you to flip the page to the next one, 188. Your Honor, with the court's permission, may Ms. Gilman publish this for the jury to read as well?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman, if you could go to page 188. I'm sorry, Ms. Gilman, if you could just, thank you. Read my mind. So, sir, what's up on the screen right now, is that what you have before you as page 188 of exhibits, I believe it's 48.
Yes,
What's up on the screen, is that what you have before you?
correct.
Okay. And as far as, from these conversations, there are blue bubbles and green bubbles, is that correct?
Correct.
And if you can tell from the content or from anything else on the page before you, who was communicating in the blue bubble and who was communicating in the green?
Katie, my wife?
From within.
Oh, no, I'm communicating. Sorry, excuse me.
So there's a from and a to, is that
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
And so the sender would be in the from, is that your understanding?
Yes,
So this first one on the top of page 188, this is from you, is that correct?
correct.
What, if anything, did you say in this conversation?
Congrats. This is great news.
And what, if anything, are you referring to by that?
Kaylee getting her acceptance letter.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could just scroll down. And the next bubble, who is that from and what does it say?
It's from me. Yes, we did.
And if you could continue to scroll down, Ms. Gilman. And again, from this bubble, who is this from and what does it say?
It's from John. Same news, I hope.
Is that still in reference to the news regarding team?
Correct.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could scroll down. Yeah. And again, sir, the next bubble, who is it from and what does it say?
It's from me. Yes.
Ms. Gilman, if you could. The next green bubble, what, if anything, does that say? And who is it from?
From John. Sweet. Congrats, Madeline.
And is that your daughter's name?
Correct.
And if you could continue to scroll down, Ms. Gilman. And again, the next bubble, who is it from and what is it?
It's from my wife. I'm so excited for these girls. Madeline doesn't know yet.
Ms. Gilman, if you could continue down. And again, the next bubble, who is it from and what does it say?
From JJ.
And
Well, I told Kaylee already, so I'm sure she's texted her by now. Poor kid is probably a nervous wreck.
Ms. Gilman, if you could. And the next bubble,
I know.
and who is that from?
It's from my wife, Kate.
And if you could scroll down again, Ms. Gilman. And the next bubble, sir.
From me, I am sure she is freaking out.
If you could scroll down again, please. And the next bubble, sir, who is it from and what does it say?
From John. No doubt.
And if you could scroll down again, Ms. Gilman. Thank you. Now, sir, if I could, may I approach on just a,
Yes. Do we need the lights on?
I don't,
Mr. Camerano, are you able to see without these lights on?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So, sir, I'm going to direct your attention to within the same exhibits, page 156. And so just before we get to that, on this particular day, January 28th, 2022, where was your wife that day?
She was at home.
And at some point, did she go to work on the 28th?
Correct.
Okay. And what is sort of her typical work schedule with reference to, at that time, what was her sort of typical work schedule with reference to weekends?
She worked weekend nights, her shift.
And as far as your typical schedule on Friday evenings, what, if anything, was it that you would typically do?
Friday, I would be with the kids. I would, get them ready for stuff for the weekend, take care of all the activity that we have.
And then in reference to that, as far as the weekends were concerned, or Friday evenings in particular, what, if any, sort of usual thing would you do with reference to Mr. O'Keefe?
I would usually go over the O'Keefe's house every Friday.
And with your children, is that correct?
Correct. With at least one of them, if not both of them.
So either your son's hanging out with Patrick or your daughter's hanging out with Kaylee, typically on a Friday, correct?
Correct.
Now, with reference to what you have before you as page 156 of this exhibit, again, towards the bottom, is there an indication as to a conversation starting on the next page as far as who, if anyone, the participants are?
What are you asking?
May I approach on?
Yes.
So what I want to direct your attention to is the bottom of page 156 here,
Yes.
as far as that box at the bottom. What, if anything, does that indicate as far as the participants in the conversation that continues or begins on the next page?
Myself and John?
And sir, if I could ask you to flip the page over to page 157. And Your Honor, with court's permission, could I publish this part of the conversation for the jury?
Yes. There's no objection, Mr. Jackson, right?
No objection.
Your Honor, for the record, we're going from page 156 to page 150 now. And so, Mr. Camerano, again, what's up on the screen, is that what you have before you as page 157?
Correct.
And you can look at either, whether it's the book in front of you.
Okay.
Or it's easier to see the screen, either is fine. But with reference to what's up on the screen, that first bubble, as if you could indicate to the jury again who it's from and what it's.
It's from JJ. How did Kara do, by the way?
And who is Karen?
I don't know.
Fair enough. Now, with reference, Ms. Gilman, if you could scroll down. And the next bubble again. I'm sorry. May I?
Ted, take the screen down, please, Ms. Gilman. Turn on the lights, please. Thank you.
May I have just a moment with counsel?
Sure.
Can I may I approach this to retrieve the exhibit?
Yes.
And
Yes.
just for the record, Your Honor, I would ask at this point to strike whatever, I don't think there was a whole lot done on that page, but whatever that was did not.
Yes,
seem to be
it was an I don't know answer. So
thank you.
Yeah. So jurors disregard that last question and answer.
My apologies. Directing your attention, Mr. Camerano, to what on 157 before you, is that what's up on the screen now?
Yes.
And so my apologies for the floor. But with regard to this first bubble on page 157, who is it from and what is it?
From JJ, you guys around tonight?
So I'm just coming if you could scroll down. And with respect to that next blue bubble, who is it from and what is it?
From me, Kate is working, I'm around, Madeline Michael is going to the Loose to play with a friend.
And what is the loose play?
The Loose is a elementary school.
Was there a play?
To play, there's a park down there, activities for kids.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could scroll down to the next bubble. And again, who is it from and what does it say, sir?
From JJ. Okay. At the driveway with her now. I'll text on my way back.
And could that be at the doctor's?
Could be.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could scroll down to the next bubble. And again, who is it from and what does it say?
Oh, Don. From me to JJ, everything okay?
And if you could, down to the next bubble, Ms. Gilman. And again, who is it from and what does it say?
From JJ. Yes, stupid shit.
And if you could scroll down to the next bubble, Ms. Gilman. Again, fair to say that one's blank. So as far as no text, but may have been something.
Yeah. And go back to the microphone or.
So Ms. Camerano, the next bubble has no text to it, is that correct?
Correct.
And now you can move out of the way. I just wanted that question.
The next bubble below that green one, again, who is it from and what does it say, sir?
From Johnny. Just told Dr. Jin that they both got into fiend.
And if you could scroll down to the next bubble. And again, green bubble, who is it from and what does it say, sir?
From Johnny. Want to drop Madeline off and hit the hillside for a bit.
And what is a hillside, sir?
It's a pub.
And where is it located?
In Canton.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could scroll down again. And the blue bubble on the screen, who is that from and what does it say?
From me to Johnny. I probably won't get to your house till 5:30.
Ms. Gilman, if you could scroll down again. Again, that green bubble, who is it from and what does it say?
From Johnny. Okay.
Ms. Gilman, if you could scroll down again. And again, the blue bubble on the screen, who is it from and what does it say?
From me. I am leaving in 10.
And, if you scroll down again.
Johnny. Okay.
Hold on 1 second, sir. Just for the noise.
Okay, sir. And the next green bubble.
Could you answer again, please?
Yes. From JJ. Okay.
Thank you.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could scroll down one last time, and that's, thank you. Ms. Gilman, you can take that. Your Honor, may I approach just to retrieve?
Yes.
You're welcome.
Now, Mr. Camerano, with regard to your statement in the text as far as leaving now, where were you leaving and where were you going to?
Leaving my house, going to John's house.
And who, if anyone, was going with you at that time?
My daughter.
And if you know approximately what time did you arrive at Mr. O'Keefe's house?
I don't.
Now, through your friendship with Mr. O'Keefe, did you become familiar with a person named Karen?
Yes.
And how did you become familiar with her, and who if anyone, was she to Mr. O'Keefe as far as you?
John introduced me to her. She was John's girlfriend.
And just to be clear, do you see Ms. Reed in the courtroom today?
Yes,
Could you just identify as to where she's seated or an article of clothing that she's wearing?
she's sitting right there.
No, just ask the record to reflect identification and identify the witness.
Yes.
Now, with regard to Ms. Reed, prior to that date of January 28th, 2022, how long had you known Ms. Reed?
A year?
Do you recall approximately when you met her?
No.
And as far as you were aware, where Mr. O'Keefe lived, did Ms. Reed live there as well?
Yes, not full time.
So she had a house of her own, as far as you knew.
Correct.
And about how often on a given week would you see Mr. O'Keefe?
Couple times.
And about how often would you see Ms. Reed?
I would see her also.
Now, as far as your relationship with Mr. O'Keefe and/or Ms. Reed, would there be occasions where you would see Mr. O'Keefe without Ms. Reed?
Correct. Yes.
Would there be any occasion where you would see Ms. Reed without Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes.
And where would that be?
At the house, maybe at Fields.
Now, with reference to their relationship, what, if any, conversation did you have with Mr. O'Keefe in regard to his relationship with Ms. Reed?
Objection.
Sustain. We need a time frame.
In the time period around, say, the weeks leading up to January 28, 2022, what, if any, conversation do you recall having with Mr. O'Keefe in regard to his relationship with Ms. Reed?
Just regular guy conversations.
Anything specific that you can recall?
No.
Now, when you arrived at the house, or typically when you would come over to Mr. O'Keefe's house, where is it that you would park?
In the driveway to the right.
And is that what you did on this particular day?
Yes.
When you arrived at the house, where did you go?
Into the house.
Yourself and your daughter?
Yes.
And when you got in there, who, if anyone, was at the house at that time?
Kaylee and John.
And what is it that you did, or what is it that occurred while you were in the house?
Excuse me?
What happened in the house?
We were just congratulating the girls, talking about how good it's going to be, different school, and just really excited for the girls.
And at some point, did yourself and Mr. O'Keefe make plans to leave the house?
Yes.
And where did you go?
We went down to McCarthy's.
And is that CF McCarthy's?
Correct.
Is that an establishment? Where is that?
It's in Canton Center.
And about how far away from Mr. O'Keefe's house is that?
5-10 minutes.
And is that somewhere that you're familiar with? You've been before?
Not frequently, no.
Now, with regard to, you know approximately what time you left Mr. O'Keefe's house and went to CF McCarthy's?
I don't.
And where were the girls when the two of you went to CF McCarthy's?
They were in the house.
And at the time that you left there and went to CF McCarthy's, who, if anyone else, was there any plans as far as meeting anybody else there?
I'm supposed to meet Karen.
Now, prior to leaving the house, what, if anything, did you or Mr. O'Keefe do with reference to the vehicles that were in the driveway?
So when we were leaving the house, I was parked in the driveway. John was parked on the left side of the driveway. John asked me I backed up so John could move his car out of the way so Karen could pull her car into the garage because of the snowstorm.
I'm sorry, you said because of the what now?
Snowstorm?
And as far as snowstorm was concerned, what, if anything, did you know at that point in regard to that?
We were supposed to get a lot of snow.
I may have just one moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
I'm just trying to remember which is which. With the court's permission, I would ask that Ms. Gilman be allowed to publish a part of Exhibit 6, which is the driveway of the ring video.
Okay.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could ask for video number 145. I'm sorry, if you could pause it right there. Mr. Camerano, if you recognize what's up on,
Yes,
and what do you recognize that to be?
myself and my daughter.
And as far as, may I approach the witness again, Your Honor?
Yes.
So just before you hear, this is a laser pointer. If you just press that button.
Okay. Okay.
And Ms. Camerano, using that laser pointer that you now have with you, if you could direct the jury's attention to where in this video you observe yourself and your daughter. And there are two vehicles in this sort of frame, is that correct?
Yes.
And if you could, using the laser pointer, just describe to the jury whose car is who and where it is.
The white car is mine. The SUV is John's.
Now, as far as the ring system that Mr. O'Keefe had at his house at this time, as far as your knowledge of it, what, if anything, would the two of you do with reference to sort of picking up or dropping off kids in the ring video?
Yes, he had a camera, so like I'd always wave or give him, I always knew that he was like watching.
And do you know how he was watching if he wasn't home?
Yes, on his phone.
So would that be sort of a running joke between the two of you?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Gilman, if you could play this. If you could just pause it there briefly. Now, Mr. Camerano, are you familiar with Mr. O'Keefe's house? You've been there plenty of times, correct?
Yes.
And with reference to sort of where you and your daughter sort of exited from the screen, what, if any, sort of entrances to the home are located in that area?
2 garage doors.
And are you familiar with that garage area?
Yes.
Is that typically how you would enter the house?
Yes.
And with regard to sort of the condition of the garage, was Mr. O'Keefe particular about that?
Yes. He was.
And how so?
He always kept things very tight. He was like OCD.
And so as far as how many garage doors, as far as, and what I mean by garage doors is sort of electronic up, up
So
and
there's
down.
2 garage doors that go up and down, and there's a door. Just a single entry door.
On the left, as far as the left door.
There was an old classic car he had, convertible.
And then as far as the right door,
Was empty.
and once beyond those sort of bay doors that go up and down, what, if any, other entranceway into the garage was?
There's a side door.
And if you recall, when you were entering at that time on 28th with your daughter, how did you enter it?
We went to the garage door, electric door.
And was that something, what if anything was affixed to those garage doors as far as security was concerned? Beyond that?
A keypad. We'd have to punch in a key.
And at the time or at any time, were you familiar with what that passcode was?
Yes.
Now, when you walk into the garage, how is it that you get from the garage to the house?
You walk into the garage and you walk up 3 steps and you go into a door.
And then once you sort of walk up the 3 steps and go into the door, what part of the house are you in when you enter?
You pretty much in the kitchen.
And you mentioned that Mr. O'Keefe was meticulous, if not OCD, when it came to the garage. How did that relate to how we kept the house?
The same. Everything was very tidy. When you walked in the door into the house, to the left, you put your shoes, your coats would be hung there.
And as far as shoes were concerned, is that something that you wore inside the house? Or?
He'd rather you not.
And that was pretty well known to people that had been there before, correct?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Gilman, from the same exhibit, if I could, actually, I'm sorry. Your Honor, with regard to the next video that's not contained on this Exhibit 5 from the same video, I would offer that at this time as the next exhibit.
And there was no objection, Mr. Jackson?
No objection.
Okay.
Exhibit 49.
Thank you.
Your Honor, for the record, this would relate to Exhibit 6 and it's video number 148. And with the court's permission, may I publish that to the jury at this time, Your Honor?
Yes.
And what was just up on the video, sir, it's just up on the screen as video number 148. That was what you had testified to previously as far as moving the cars.
Correct.
And why was that again?
So Karen could pull in the driveway, in the garage, excuse me.
So the expectation, from your understanding, is that Ms. Reed was coming back to the house at Meadows later on that evening.
Correct.
Now, as Mr. O'Keefe from that video on the screen there was walking to the car, did you happen to notice how he was dressed?
Yes.
And as far as what you observed in that video, what you recall from that evening, is that how he was dressed that evening?
Yes.
And when I say how he was dressed, for sort of the entirety of the time that you were with him?
Yes.
So it's January 28th. You recall, you indicated there was a snowstorm coming. It was cold out, is that correct?
Correct.
And with reference to that, was Mr. O'Keefe someone that would typically wear a coat?
No.
And ever? That you can recall?
Never that I could recall.
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, with reference to that same Exhibit 6, if I could publish video number 149.
Okay.
And Ms. Gilman, for the sake of time, you can start. And yes, you can break down. So from that video, Mr. Camerano, what is it that you and Mr. O'Keefe are doing in that video?
Heading down to McCarthy's.
Now,
Do you want the lights on, Mr. Lally?
yes.
Thank you.
Now, at some point after you arrived at C.F. McCarthy's, who, if anyone else, sort of joins your group?
Kurt,
And that'd be Kirk Roberts, is that
correct.
And how was it that he came to C.F. McCarthy's that night, if you know?
I texted him.
And in general terms, what do you call sort of what that text communication was like between yourself and Mr. Roberts?
Yes, he said he was busy. He was doing something that I texted him that he was a pussy.
And following that text, did Mr. Roberts eventually arrive at C.F. McCarthy's?
He showed up, yes.
And about how long after you and Mr. O'Keefe arrived did Kurt show up?
I would like to say maybe an hour.
And if you know, when was it that at some point you indicated Miss Reed appeared at C.F. McCarthy's as well?
Correct.
And do you know about how long after yourself and John arrived that Miss Reed?
I don't.
Now, with reference to that establishment of C.F. McCarthy's, are you aware or have you become aware that there was surveillance video from inside the bar that night?
Yes.
You've seen some of that footage, is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I want to seek to introduce and admit the surveillance video from C.F. McCarthy's as the next exhibit.
And there's no objection, Mr. Jackson.
There's none.
It's 55.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. ma'am.
Full recorder.
Tori. 55.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would seek to publish portions of that video for the jury at this time.
Okay.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could, from that video, the first, the first video. If I could ask you to play from about 7 minutes and 40 seconds, and we'll go through about 9 minutes. If you could pause it just there. Now, do you recognize what's up on the screen, Mr. Camerano?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that to be?
C.F. McCarthy's.
And yourself and Mr. O'Keefe are not in frame at this time, is that correct?
No.
If you could, using the laser pointer before you, if you could direct the jury's attention to where it was about in reference to the bar that you and Mr. O'Keefe eventually came to congregate that.
These seats here.
And from this video, from your time there that night or prior occasions, can you see sort of where the front door is to the establishment?
Yes.
Could you direct the jury's attention to where that is? And so what I'm going to ask in just a moment is for Ms. Gilman to press play. And then what I'd ask you to do is if you could just direct the jury's attention to when, if at all, you observe yourself and Mr. O'Keefe walking.
Okay.
Ms. Gilman, if you could. And Ms. Cameron, if you could pause it right there. And just, I'm sorry, Mr. Camerano, you're directing with the laser pointer to the
Sorry.
screen. If you could just describe what you're directing. Jury's attention.
That is me, and that is John.
And thank you, sir.
Well-
Ms. Gilman, if you could just, again, play this through the 9 minutes. And Your Honor, for the record, I think we're at about 9 minutes and 41 seconds or so.
Okay.
So with reference to Steve McCarthy's, you went there, had some drinks, correct?
Yes.
Do you recall what you were drinking or what John was drinking that night?
Beer.
Is that sort of typical for the two of you?
Yes.
And do you recall sort of, was that from the tap, a bottle, or something else?
From the bottle.
And do you recall what type of beer typically you would drink or Mr. O'Keefe would drink?
Bud Light.
And do you recall specifically that's what you had that night, or that's just what you would typically have?
Typically, I think we had Bud Light.
And if you know approximately how many beers or how many drinks did you have over the course of your time at CF McCarthy's that night?
I don't.
As far as yourself versus Mr. O'Keefe, do you recall sort of in relation to each other how much you each had to drink?
Not maybe 6 beers.
And what I'm asking, sir, is it's not like, did one of you have 10 and one of you had 2, or was it sort of commensurate with each other?
Commensurate one for one.
Oh,
So essentially,
who
you're
handled
buying
the
rounds
evidence
as you
that
go
day?
along.
Correct.
How would the evidence officer know to go down there? How would he know that there were
Now-
clothing items being laid out to dry on butcher paper unless the case officer told him?
They would walk by it every day
From
and see it. That's
the-
their workstation. So
your time at
they would
CF
know that,
McCarthy's,
hey, this
um,
evidence is
how would you
drying.
describe sort of
There's
the-
only
the
4 detectives
tone
in the
or
office
sort
at
of,
that time working on this
the
case.
demeanor
We
within the group that you
communicate
were in
daily,
that night?
so they would know
Pretty
that,
good.
hey, it's dried.
So no
Let's bag
arguments,
it
no
up.
fighting, anything like that.
No.
And just briefly going back to
An
the
orange
clothing
shirt.
that you
Do you have
observed,
a
Mr.
laser
O'Keefe
pointer
wearing
with you?
this,
If you
and that
don't,
you
I can
recall him
grab
wearing
it.
that night.
I do.
Can
What
you
if any
point for the
damage
jurors
or
where you were
tears
describing
or anything like that
orange,
you note in any of his
just pick
clothing?
whichever
that-
TV you want to use.
I did not see any.
Now, Ms. Gilman, if I could ask you to take this down and go to the 3rd video. And Ms. Gilman, if I could direct your attention to the 6
It
minute,
did,
10
yes.
second mark through the 7th.
Tell me which TV you're going to look at so the jurors understand and can follow.
I'll do the one to my right so the jurors can see. There is something orange right there
Now,
on the floor.
Ms. Camerano,
Does that
direct your
appear to be on
attention
top
to
of
the
something
screen,
darker?
if you could, from the parties that
It
were
does appear to
within
be
your group sort
on
of that
top
night at the bar.
of
If you
possibly
could just direct the jury's attention to
a
who was
darker,
with anyone you recognize.
item of clothing, possibly the jeans. I'm not sure exactly from
Kurt?
here.
Okay.
what that is.
Do you believe as you
So in
sit
addition to
here,
yourself and
and
Mr. O'Keefe,
I'm
Mr. Roberts is now joined.
asking
the
it
group.
open because I don't know what
Correct.
the answer is. Do you believe as you sit here that
Mr.
that's the
Gilman,
orange
if you could
shirt
just,
and or
place-
the gray sweatshirt and or the jeans?
If we can zoom in, I could probably pick out the pattern.
If you could
So
pause
from
it.
here, it looks like it's a cut
Now, with reference
fabric,
to Mr. Roberts,
indicating
you're a
that it
drinker as
most
well?
likely is
Yes.
the orange shirt,
From
the
a bottle
jeans. You
that
can
night,
see the
same sort of
belt
thing that yourself and Mr. O'Keefe were having.
looped through
Correct.
the jeans on the left
And from where
side.
it's paused at
I
this
would
point
say
in
that
the
that
video,
is
if anyone else you
Mr.
recognize
Keefe's
sort of
clothing
coming
that
into
we
frame
picked
or
up
coming
and
to join
bagged.
Okay, if you could unzoom that for
Karen,
me. One
read.
more question. You see
And, so
Mr.
from this, is
O'Keefe's,
this about the time that she entered
left
the
leg and right leg
establishment or
from
came
about
into
the
law?
little lower than
Yes.
mid thigh down, correct?
Now, with
Mid
reference to Ms.
thigh
Reed,
down,
what
I
if
see
anything do
his
you
legs,
recall
yes. Okay,
her
you see
drinking
his right knee?
during your time that you were both at CF
The
McCarthy?
interior portion of it, yes.
Okay, do you see any scrapes or
She
marks
was
or
drinking out of a
cuts or abrasions
glass.
on that right knee?
Not
And,
from this
if you know, what if,
point, no.
what
Thank you, we can
if
take that.
anything did you observe as far as the color of what was in the glass?
It was clear.
And beyond sort of the clear liquid in the glass, what if anything else did you observe in the glass as far as the
Oh,
straw,
the laser point?
fruit, anything like that?
Which one? I think
A
it's this
straw.
one. They're
Maybe.
both the same.
And what if anything, did you know what was in the glass?
I didn't.
As far as you could tell what was in the glass?
Vodka?
Is that something that Ms. Reed would typically drink if you had been out with her on prior occasions?
Sorry
Yes.
about that. Can we display the photo one
Now,
more time, Ms. Johnson?
I'm sorry to keep jumping back and forth.
We don't need to turn the lights off.
Ms. Gilman, if you could just hit play again and let it run, excuse me, to the 7-minute mark.
Take a look to the left. Could you zoom in on the chair? Do you see that item sitting on the chair, Sergeant?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
That is either mine or Michael Proctor's notepad binder.
Thank you. We can take that down. Concerning the two shirts that you earlier testified to as being sopping wet, did you bag those shirts? Well, did you bag those shirts or did Michael Proctor bag those shirts?
Thank you. Now, Ms. Gilman,
We
from this
bagged them
same third
together.
video,
If my memory
this
is not
exhibit of the
failing
CF
me, I
McCarthy's, if
believe
could ask you to forward to the 14-minute
he
mark.
picked it up and I held the bag open. But
Did-
I could be wrong. Maybe I picked it up and he held the bag open.
That's fine. The two of you together got them in a bag.
Yes.
Was it a paper bag or a plastic bag?
It was a
And if
large,
you could, I would ask that you play this
paper
from the
bag,
14-minute mark until about 14
the
minutes
size
and
of like
15
a
seconds.
leaf
Just about
long,
15
lawn leaf bag you would get for disposing your yard waste.
Okay, is it specifically an evidence bag or was it something that y'all came up with on the spot?
It's a bag that was provided by Crime Scene Services.
Okay, so it's an
And
official
You can take that down.
law enforcement type bag, what a grocery bag.
It was not a grocery bag. It was a large
Camerano,
bag.
Okay, understood.
indicated that his son was at
Did
Booth
both shirts
Elementary
go in the
School
same
for a
bag?
play of some sort, is that correct?
He
All the
was for a
clothing
little bit.
items that were in the pile went into the
From
same
there,
bag.
where, if
Does that
anywhere
include
else
the
did
jeans
you
and
go
belt
then?
and boxer
He went to a
shorts?
friend's house to skate in his backyard.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Skate
You
as
went
far as
from-
just skating, or what if anything else was?
Good
We
Samaritan,
were skating
straight to Dighton,
at a little party.
correct?
Yes.
Let me ask you
And
this, was he a
you are
hockey
the
player?
one who
Yes,
put
he's a hockey player.
the bag in
You
your
say skating.
Skating,
super
yes.
cab of your
Makeshift hockey
pickup truck?
rink in somebody's
Yes.
backyard.
And then from
And,
Dighton, you went over to Canton
At some
PD,
point,
is that right?
Yes, we did.
And then from Canton PD,
At
ultimately,
some point with
before
relation
the
to
night
that,
was
what if
out,
anything sort of
you ended
caused
up
you
back
to
at
see if
the
McCarthy's on that?
Norfolk DA's
I received a
offices,
phone
which is
call
where you and
that
Michael
my son
Proctor
was hit in the
office
face with
inside,
a
correct?
hockey stick and he lost his tooth.
Yes.
And so upon receiving that call,
When
what-
exactly, if you
I went
recall,
to
did
go
you
get
lay
him.
out the clothing? You indicated it
and
was sopping
do
wet.
you
You laid it
recall
out.
about what time that
When
was that you left CF McCarthy's to
It
go
was
get-
during the evening hours.
I don't recall.
Once we arrived to the Canton office.
It was about 10 p.m., I'm guessing.
No, it was before that.
It was before 10.
Yes.
I have just a moment.
Now, from the group that you were with, as far as yourself, Mr. O'Keefe, Ms. Reed, and Mr. Roberts, who, if anyone, left first?
I believe Kurt.
And do you recall sort of how it was that Kurt left?
Kurt just got up and left.
So sort of a Irish goodbye?
Yeah, Irish goodbye, yes.
That's something he's known for?
Yes.
And about when was that in
Sergeant, I
relation
just want to get the
when-
record as clear as possible.
Not
Did you
too soon
testify
after.
at a hearing last year,
Not
the
too soon
proceeding
after,
last
not
year
too
here in this
soon
courtroom? That
I,
it was about
I
10
left after
o'clock,
probably
at
like
night
say
when you finally
15
got the
minutes after
clothing laid out
Kurt
on the
left.
butcher paper?
Based on the context on the question, I might have estimated to be
Okay.
around 10. I would have to take a look at the exact language being used.
Now,
That's fair. I'm not trying to hold you to anything. I just want to make sure we get it as clear
with
as
the court's
possible.
permission, Your Honor, I'd just like to publish just two more segments from this.
Okay.
So Ms. Gilman, if I could direct your attention to the fourth video. Fourth one down. And if I could ask you to forward it to about 19 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay, good, play.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Sergeant, does that refresh your recollections to about the time that you ended up
Ms.
at
Gilman, if I
the
could ask you to just
office
there
to
for
lay
a
out
second.
those items on the
Now,
butcher
Mr.
paper?
Camerano, from your.
That refreshes
looking
my
at this
memory
film
to my
video
testimony
or from your
prior.
memory of that night, you see
And that
Mr.
was about your
O'Keefe,
prior
speaking to
testimony.
another
It was
gentleman,
about
is that
10
correct?
p.m.
Yes.
When asked about what time
Yes.
the items were laid out, I
Sully.
indicated previously it was
And, do you know
10
his
o'clock.
First name or anything
approximately.
beyond his
Uh, you didn't
Sully,
stay there all
I
night
don't know
with
his
those
first name.
clothes.
No, I did not.
How is it that you know him?
You left the
Kids
clothes
play
with Michael
baseball with
Proctor,
his
did
son.
you not?
So in addition to your son playing baseball with Mr.
I
O'Keefe's
can't
nephew,
testify to leaving them,
Mr.
quote unquote,
Roberts, does he have a
with
son named
Michael
Brown, same
Proctor.
age?
We laid them out
Correct.
together
and,
in
this
the
individual, Sully,
drying
he
area
has
on
a
the butcher
child that
paper.
plays baseball with
And then at
three of
some
your
point,
kids.
I secured
Correct.
from the office. I don't have a memory if he left with
Is that
me
someone that you had
or if he
contact
remained
with
to
you there, or you
do
just happened to be?
He just happened to be there.
additional tasks in the office too. No.
Ms. Gilman, if you could.
You
Whatever you have to
indicated
do.
that those
Play again,
clothes
just one
stayed
about
in that
3 minute
room
mark.
starting on January 29th,
Now, Ms.
2022,
Gilman, if you
so that
could
they could dry, correct?
move that
That's
forward,
correct, sir.
again to
Ultimately,
24 minutes and 10
they were
seconds.
bagged after they were dried, correct?
At some point they were, yes.
Who had access to that room where they were laid out on butcher paper in those intervening, those subsequent
And
days?
if you could just. let this
Anyone
run,
that had access to
until
the
about
office
24
with
minutes
a
and 20
proper
seconds,
key
just about 10
card
seconds.
authorization would have access to that
And
area.
of course, that includes you as a supervisor, correct?
It does.
It also includes Michael Proctor.
It does.
And those items were bagged on February 4th.
And so, Mr.
that
Camerano,
right?
did you see yourself in that portion of the video?
I don't have a
Yes.
specific
Know what you
memory,
were
but if
doing
you
at that
can
time?
show me a
Leaving.
document suggesting that
So
and
prior to
supporting
leaving,
that
you sort of
statement,
settled
I
up a
will
tab or
definitely look
something?
at it.
Yes, I picked up the tab.
And then you left and went to get your son, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Gilman, you can take that down, please. Now, Mr. Camerano, you left there and went to pick up your son, is that correct?
Yes.
And following picking up your son, where did you go?
Back to John's house.
Why did you go back to John's house then?
My daughter was there picking her up.
You went to pick up your daughter?
Correct.
Recall approximately what time that was?
Earlier today, sir?
11.
I do remember
And
looking at the
when
baggage.
you came back to the residence of One Meadows, you parked on
That's
the driveway
generated
again?
when
Correct.
items are bagged.
And,
It has
did you
multiple
physically
labels,
sort of go
yes.
in the
Okay.
house to pick up?
Did you see
No,
the
I
label
did-
today that
no, I did not.
indicated it was bagged on February 4th?
I didn't pay attention to it, no.
Now, as far
May I approach,
as-
Your Honor?
Yes.
From the time that from the time that you left with Mr. O'Keefe to go to see McCarthy's versus the time that you came back, anything changed as far as position of Mr. O'Keefe's car?
No.
What, if anything, did you note as far as the garage doors were concerned, or any damage or anything like that?
I don't know what the
Everything looked
colloquy
normal.
means. Can you? I see.
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would seek to just publish another video or two from Exhibit 6.
Okay.
And at this time, Ms. Gilman, if I could have from the driveway again, video 152. Ms. Gilman, you can stop there. Now, from that video 152 that was just up on the screen, sir, can you describe for the jury, excuse me, just as sort of what was going on in that video?
I was picking up my daughter, Madeline, and my son, Michael, was with me. Yes, all three of us.
And where did you go from there?
Mayor
Home.
Bush.
Yes.
And when you got home, well, let me ask you this first. During the time that you were at C.F. McCarthy's,
Reviewing that document, refresh your recollection.
you obviously
As to the
at
date,
some
the date
point,
that
you
those
didn't do
items
an
were
Irish goodbye?
ultimately bagged? and labeled?
No.
So
Yes,
at some point
based
you
on the
indicated to Ms.
tag
O'Keefe
on the
and/or Ms.
bag,
Reed that you were leaving to go
when I
pick up the
previously
Yes.
looked at it,
What, if any,
it
indication
appears
did they
that
give you as
the
far as
tag
where
was
they were
printed on
going, or what were their
2/4/22.
intentions
And
for
that
the
would
rest
be
of the evening?
consistent with the time that the
They were,
items
they
are
were
actually
heading
placed
either
in the
across the
bag.
street or to the hillside.
I don't know
And when
that
you
to
say
be true.
across the
Because
street,
you
what, if
didn't place them
anything,
in the
was
bag,
across the
Trooper
street?
Proctor did, correct? Sorry, former Trooper Proctor.
There's another bottle.
I don't know who placed them in the bag.
But it wasn't you.
Waterfall, yes.
It was not me,
Familiar
no.
with that
But the
establishment as well?
case
Yes.
officer, Mr.
Where is
Proctor,
that in relation
had
to
access
CF
to that
Proctor?
room and was taking control
across
of
the
those
street
those
to the
clothing
left.
items.
If you were
for
coming
those
out of
6 days
C.F.
that they were
McCarthy's.
drawing on the butcher paper, correct?
Walking distance?
That's not
is that
necessarily correct. It could
Correct.
have been the evidence officers
And
bagging the evidence once it's
you
dried.
leave
and
you get the son, you
processing
pick
it.
up the daughter, you go to
I
Peace
highly
House, and then you
doubt
go
Trooper
home, correct?
Proctor had
Correct.
access to the beast machine to
And
print that tape label.
When you get home,
Right.
about
I'm not asking
how
if he
much
printed the label, I'm asking if
longer
he
were
bagged
you up
the item
before you
and
went?
walked it up to the evidence
Wasn't
locker
up
and
much longer.
the label was printed up there.
And
Again, I don't know who
when you typically go to
bagged
bed,
the
what if anything
items.
did you do? with
That would be
your phone?
normal protocol though, correct?
Put them on the charger.
somebody else bagging the
Charger
items.
located
No,
around-
the case
In the
officer
kitchen?
bagging the items. He's the one that seized it along with you.
And-
He laid them out on the butcher paper along with you. He would be the one to gather them up. I mean, the evidence officer's
When,
not going to come down there and do that without the case officer.
Following
correct?
to the next.
Not necessarily. The evidence
About what time is
officer's
it that you wake up
responsibility
on
is
the
to
23rd?
handle the evidence. So I don't know who handled the
5:30,
evidence
6
that day.
a.m.
How would the evidence
What was
officer
it
know to
that-
go down
that
there? How would
woke
he
you
know
up
that there were clothing items being
Phones
laid out to
ringing?
dry on butcher paper unless the case officer told him?
And how many phones do you have?
2.
They would walk by it every day
Essentially one
and
personal,
see it.
one
That's
work,
their
is that
workstation.
Correct.
So
Right.
they would know that,
phones
hey,
ringing or
this
one of the other?
evidence is
One
drying.
phone at that time.
There's only 4
your work
detectives in the
My
office at
personal
that
phone.
time working on this case. We communicate daily.
Get up,
So they
hear
would
that, you
know
look at your
that, hey,
phone, what
it's
if anything you
dried,
see on the screen?
Let's bag it up.
I see a lot of missed calls, a bunch of missed calls from Karen, and missed calls from my wife's work.
I was giving you an explanation of what
And,
could have happened.
Right.
When you say missed calls,
Speculation
you're
about
talking
what could have happened, right?
One call, several calls.
Well, I certainly did not
Several
bag that
calls.
item.
Right. But your best
any
estimate would be
voicemails, that you
knowing
recall
the
associated with
protocols
those
at
calls?
the
I don't recall.
MSP and in your unit would be the
And,
case officer
um,
who's controlling the items of
So
evidence
based
would have
on
bagged
sort
it
of making
and
that
submitted
observation
it
of the missed
into
calls,
the evidence locker.
what do you do with that?
I
I'd
do
pick up
not
the phone
know
and call
who
my
bagged
wife.
it.
And what, if anything, did you learn from your wife about that?
My wife
for
said
6
to me that
days-
John.
Okay, sustained.
Anybody who had access to that room
Okay.
could have handled that clothing in any way they wanted to.
That's correct.
And that includes former Trooper Michael Proctor.
That's correct.
Do you have any kind of log to document what was happening or who was handling those items of clothing during that 6-day period before it was bagged into evidence? Any kind of a log?
I don't have a document logging the clothing laying out there. It was documented in reports and processing, I believe. But
Have you ever seen a log? Not a report, not a log, real-time log, indicating you made a.
So, Mr. Camerano, you call your wife, and what, if anything, is it in general that she tells you?
She tells me that
I
John
have
didn't come
never
home
seen
last
a
night.
log like that. No.
And she's still at work at this point, is that correct?
Correct.
Did she indicate
The
to
fact
you
is, we
how
don't
she
have
came
a
to find
single
that?
document
She just
establishing the
she
chain
said
of
she's
custody for
received
those
phone calls
items
from
between
From whom?
Karen.
January 29th and February 4th.
And
That's correct, isn't it?
That is absolutely not correct.
Where's the where's
then
the
based on that, you have a
log
conversation
of the
with your
document
wife
logging
about
what happened to it?
John.
We seized the clothing.
Yes, my wife
It
says
was
to
in
me,
our possession.
go get
It was
Kaylee.
transferred for
Kaylee's home.
processing.
Sergeant, I'm asking you about a
So at
log.
that time, your
a
wife
written
tells you that
piece of
Kaylee's
paper,
home in Meadows Ave by
something that
herself.
looks like this.
Yes,
It's got writing on
And
it
so
that
based
logs
on that information, what is it?
the
that you
item
do?
between
I
January
realized that
29th
Kaylee's home alone,
and
so
February 4th.
I throw some
That
clothes
doesn't
on,
exist, does it?
We did not
Um,
create a log to
out to
document
the
the
car,
documentation,
clean the
so
car off real quick,
be
get in the car and go.
redundant, really.
When you say clean the car off real quick, what, if anything, did you have
You
to clean up?
indicated on
I
direct
cleaned the snow off the
examination
front
that you
windshield.
personally participated in 2 searches at 34
And again, you
Fairview,
sort of drive
one
over
on February
to,
4th, one on February 10th. Is that right?
John's house to get Kaylee?
Correct.
And when you get there, do you pull in the driveway as well?
That
Yes.
is not right.
And when you get
What did I get wrong?
to John's house and you pull in the
I
driveway,
was also
what, if
there on
anything,
the,
did you,
3rd,
observe about sort of the condition
3rd,
of the garage
4th,
doors?
and 10th.
When I pulled in, I could tell the door, the garage door was
What
open,
did you-
left open.
Who did you go with
Which
on the
one?
3rd?
The one to the right or the one?
To the one to the right.
That was
And,
Trooper
did you
DeChico,
go inside that door?
Michael
do.
Proctor, and I
What, if anything, did
conducting
you
the
do
first
once you went inside?
excavation.
Once I went inside,
And about what time
I
was
saw
that?
Kaylee.
It was during the
I
morning
asked Kaylee
hours. I think
get her-
earlier I
get
said it
whatever
was
she
somewhere
needed
between
and to come
8:30
and
9,
get in the
9:30.
car. While she was doing that,
half an hour
I started
later.
clearing some snow. I thought maybe
I'm
snow
not
hit the sensors.
exactly
so that the,
positive on the exact
door
time we
couldn't go
began
down.
the excavation.
And
And
the
so you
other
start clearing
2
the snow
searches
with a
were
shovel?
the next
With the
day,
shovel that
February
was in the
4th,
garage,
and
yes.
then February 10th.
And after
The
you
next
cleared
time
some
I
of the
was
snow with
at
the shovel, what did you do with regards
Fairview
to the doors
Road
and
and involved.
So I tried to put
and
him down.
Involved
It
in a
wouldn't go down.
collection
Then
of
I asked
evidence was on the
Kaylee,
4th
I think, to
when Ken PD
re-enter the code to see if she
documented
could
the one piece.
get the
and
doors
I
to go down.
collected.
The doors would not go down.
And then
The door.
the 10th.
And at some point, how did you get the?
So I manually, there's a red rope. I manually pulled that, shut the door, locked the doors. There's 2 side locks on the garage door, and I went out through the side garage door.
Was anything recovered on February?
Now,
Let's take them
when
in order.
you
On February 3rd.
arrived at the residence and you pulled into the driveway.
Yes, Mr. O'Keefe's hat,
Do you recall how many
straw,
vehicles were in the driveway when you got there?
Yes,
And how many?
2,
And whose vehicle?
I
John's and
believe,
Karen's.
red and clear
John's vehicle, was
plastic
that-
taillight
where was that in
pieces.
relation to the last time you saw it when you
There
picked up the
was
dog?
Same spot.
And as
that was-
far
those
as,
are the items that were
defendant
recovered
was
amongst
That's on the
vehicles,
3rd.
where
Okay,
was
what about
that
the 4th?
In relation to the garage or in relation to?
The 4th was
It was pulled in on the left
tail-
side,
red taillight
all the way
piece that we
So in the
displayed, I
area of
believe.
the garage door that you were just speaking
Correct.
about.
Ken PD notified me of when I was
And
already
at
en
that
route there.
time, did you
When you say Kenton PD,
look at the vehicle or
who
or
was it
touch the
that notified
vehicle
you? If you
in any way?
remember?
There
No,
was at the scene. There was Chief Berkowitz.
Fair to say that your focus was
couple of
sort of on the
detectives.
garage door and the fact that it was open, correct?
correct.
Sergeant
Why was
Sergeant
that?
Lank.
Maybe
Does that sound right?
self-evident, but why was your focus on
Because
I do
I
not know. I
figured
can't
John would go
say
crazy
yes
when
or
he
no.
came
I
home
don't
and all the snow was in his
recall
garage.
specifically. It was
garage.
raining hard, so I grabbed the item and left.
Okay.
Now, at any point
Were
in time,
there-
when
did
you
you
initially
write a
got the call
report?
from
I'm
your
gonna-
wife,
I'm gonna
did you yourself
combine
reach out
these
to
into
John at any point?
all 3
I did
days
not.
together. Did you write any report? Actually, I won't do that. Let me ask him individually. Did you write any report about your search on the 3rd?
Somebody authored a report. I'm not
Did you? I'm asking about you.
I
You know,
I
if
can't. There's
may,
over 100
I would
reports.
just,
I'd have to take a look.
publish
which
more,
report
video
documents
from
my
Exhibit 6,
activity
the
that
driveway
day.
ring.
Okay.
Do you remember, as you sit here, authoring a report about your conduct or your activity on February 4th?
And
The
Ms.
next day.
Gilman, if I could have.
I don't have a memory of
from
it, no.
those,
Do you
first
have
starting
a
with,
memory of authoring a
video
report
155
yourself
and essentially
about your
video
conduct on
165
February
through
10th,
158.
your activity on February 10th?
I don't have a memory of it. It could have happened.
positive.
I just don't have a memory.
The reality,
And Ms. Camerano,
Sergeant,
you
is
recognize
that
what's up on the screen?
no
again?
report
Yes, my
was
car.
written about any of
This is
these
sort when you're
searches
pulling in to get killed.
until
Correct.
November 4th,
Using the
2023.
laser pointer before you, again, if you could
Correct.
just direct the jury's attention to where you.
That could
observed
be
the
could be
vehicle.
possible. Yes.
So literally the documentation of these three
And is that
searches
essentially
about
from
which
what you
you've
observed there,
testified
that's where it
today,
was the entire
the
time?
documentation did not
Yes.
exist
Nobody else came to the home during
until,
the time that you were there.
what
to
is
pick
that
up
math,
Kaylee and something
17,
else.
18 months later?
No.
That is not true. Each
Gilman, if
bag
you
that
could
the
just,
evidence went into was documented, the time, location, who recovered it, where it was recovered, and brief description of the items that were recovered from the scene.
And by the way, we're going to get to that in a second, the evidence bags. A report is designed to memorialize exactly what happens, when it happens, why it happened, who was there, what time it happened, things of that nature, correct?
That is one of the purposes, or some of the purposes behind the report. Absolutely, yes.
And the report in this case that documented these three searches involving you, Trooper Proctor, I think Trooper DeChico, even Canton PD officers, there was no memorialization in a report until nearly 18 months later. Is that right?
It's possible, yeah. We right.
All right, I've had enough. I want to wipe my ass with you.
I want to ask you about this February 4th visit to the crime scene. You indicated
Gilman, if
that
you could play the next video 156.
sometime in the morning, 8:45, 9 a.m., something like that, you responded
On the 4th, sir?
on the 4th.
I
May
was
the
driving
fourth
to
be
work,
with
so
you.
I would have to say 45 or so. Yeah, I mean, I don't have the exact timestamp, but if you know,
Heaven forbid.
if you have
anyone
something to refresh my
remember
memory, I
something.
can tell you if that's accurate.
I'm not going to hold you to the exact time. It was in the morning on the 4th.
It was.
Oh
Did you know Chief of Police Ken Berkowitz before you responded on the 4th to 34 Fairview?
Yes, I knew who he was. I had met him previously, and he was present
Finally, an answer.
on the 29th when the vehicle was delivered to the Sally Port.
He was actually in the Sally Port, at least at some time, when the vehicle was delivered, correct?
He was
Yes.
there at some point. I had a conversation with him.
Okay. Tall guy, short guy?
Chief Berkowitz was a shorter guy.
Gilman, next video
Do you know who
Was.
Brian Higgins is?
I do.
Yeah, he called in a
What's your
favor.
relationship with Brian Higgins?
Uh,
Or what was it? I should be more pointed to this, Sergeant. What was your relationship back in 2022, January of 2022?
Brian Higgins was a federal agent, and I crossed paths with him on a couple of investigations, strictly professional relationship, a federal agent and a state trooper.
So not a personal relationship, more of a professional relationship.
Correct.
Did you know him to have a personal relationship with Chief Berkowitz?
I did not know.
Didn't Brian Higgins actually tell you and Michael Proctor in an interview that he had a personal relationship with Chief Berkowitz? He called him one of his better friends. Sure. During the course of your investigation, did you learn, although you may not have personal knowledge of it, did you learn that Brian Higgins and Chief Berkowitz had some sort of a personal relationship?
If you show me a report saying that, I would
For fuck's
like to take a look.
sake.
If it's written in a report authored
Oh
by
my
me
God.
or that I approved, I will take it for to be fact.
As you sit here now, you don't have a memory of that conversation with Brian Higgins?
Do I have a memory of having a conversation with him
No,
and him
I'm-
sharing that information with me?
That's it.
I don't have a memory of him sharing that information, but
What difference
if
would it
you have a
make?
report that was authored by me or Michael Proctor or any trooper in our office that says that,
Hmm.
I will take it as gospel and testify to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to take up the time to look for it. We'll put our hands on that. But in the meantime, let me ask you a few other questions. You were contacted and told to respond to 34 Fairview because Chief Berkowitz had been driving by and saw something while he was driving by, correct?
On which day, sir?
February 4th.
I'm sorry.
February 4th.
Yes, he indicated he was driving by and saw a piece of potential evidence.
And he was driving by in a
So,
car.
Mr. Camerano, what was
speed,
just in
correct?
those last 4 videos that were played before the
I
jury?
would
Is that essentially
Take that to be factual. I mean, he's driving by.
Garage door down.
Correct.
I would take it to be in the car.
So
And
leave,
at speed.
from
Did you
there and
question
go
Chief
back to your house,
Berkowitz
is that
about,
correct?
by the way,
Yes.
about how old
And
was
so
Chief
where
Berkowitz
does,
when you
where sort of, when
met
Kelly
him
Hill
out
once
at
you get inside?
34 Fairview?
You go
in
into the house,
2022?
in the kitchen in my
How old?
house,
Estimate.
and my daughter,
Was he in his 50s, 60s,
get my
70s?
daughter up.
He was about to retire, so.
And your daughter
I have
then
no
You were
idea.
at his
hangs out with
Chief
Kelly
Berkowitz.
for a
retirement
period of
party,
time.
dickhead.
Correct, they
I've
go
got a
downstairs
photo
and
of you
they're hanging
dancing,
out.
got a video.
And at some point in time, how does Kaylee,
He indicated to
Leave your
you
house or
that
where
he
did
was
she go?
driving by and saw a
I
small
take Kaylee
piece of
home.
red taillight
and
from his car. Is that right?
why is it that you?
He indicated to you that he was driving by and saw a red something
I don't know what time.
from his car.
Paul had called me.
Did you question Chief Berkowitz
Paul
after you
O'Keefe,
learned
John's
this
brother.
information about him driving by? Did you question Chief Berkowitz about how he could possibly see a
Yes.
piece of red plastic?
Kaylee to the
from
house
the
on
car?
Meadows Ave to be with the family, is that
No.
correct?
Yes.
Did you question Chief Berkowitz about why he was driving by 34 Fairview in the first place?
No.
That would just be silly.
Did you question Chief Berkowitz about the
Thank you very
fact that
much.
his
I-
department had been conflicted
Jackson?
from the case, at least in part, because of a, as you put it, a perceived, possible perception of a conflict of
Camerano,
interest?
just a few questions. You and your
I'm
wife
sorry, can you
did
repeat that
spend
question,
a lot of time.
Did you question Chief
John
Berkowitz
O'Keefe and
about
during
whether or
his
not
health,
he was
correct?
aware
Decent
that there
amount,
was
yes.
a conflict of
Did you
interest
consider
between
John one of
Canton
your best
PD
friends?
and
A good
this
friend.
investigation?
Don't
any
be
question.
silly.
You were close enough that your
Did
children
you think that was important
spent
at
a
the
lot of
time?
time with John O'Keefe
to talk to him about that
and
conflict of
Karen Reed
interest?
as a couple and their kids?
No.
Correct?
Because just
Correct.
days
In
earlier,
fact,
Sergeant,
is it true that sometimes they even vacation
Canton Police
together with
Department
Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. Reed?
Correct.
There was a trusting relationship that you had with both Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. Reed to put your kids in their care.
To
Correct.
prevent any perceived conflict of
mentioned,
interest, they recused themselves
Wonderful
from being
news
involved in
about your
interviews.
Kids, your daughter getting into
I
this
wasn't
great school.
Pairing up with Chief Berkowitz to interview the taillight
Bishop
piece. I
Fan,
mean,
yes.
I don't.
Uh, Before the acceptance, there was actually a sort of a process, like an open house that you needed to take the kids to, correct?
Yes.
You took your daughter.
I don't recall.
You remember being at an open house and a tour of Bishop with Karen Reed and John O'Keefe and John's niece?
I do recall being in an auditorium. I do.
Yeah, big auditorium, big tour of the school.
Yes.
All the kids getting in.
Yes.
To make sure it's the right fit for the kids.
Correct.
And Karen was there, sort of as a
She was.
patriarch for John's niece.
It's
Yes.
just a coinkydink.
Your daughter spent a lot of time.
was your
just with
understanding, at least at the time,
Miss
that
Reed.
the whole purpose of the
running
recusal
errands,
was so
going
there
to
were
Miss
not,
Reed's
there would
house,
not be
having
a
Miss Reed care
perception
for her,
of a
Correct.
conflict of interest.
and you had no issues with that
To
No.
avoid that.
because you liked Karen. You
Correct.
liked Miss Reed.
I didn't give it much
Correct.
thought of the understanding why there was a recusal. I was told that they're not going to conduct interviews with us,
probably-
and me
did you
being on
say
a
once a
mission
week?
of
That you would
conducting this
hang out with
investigation,
and
assisting this
socialize with Miss
investigation,
Reed
collecting
and Mr.
evidence,
O'Keefe?
I just knew that I needed more manpower.
Yes.
And
So you got to know them not just individually,
and
but
the
as a
Canton
couple
police
together,
being-
correct?
you know,
Yes.
having recused
Uh,
themselves,
I
weren't
saw
going to
them
be
on most
available
Friday
to
nights,
provide
right?
that manpower
Correct.
to conduct interviews.
Never
And
saw
yet,
them argue or
It was
fight.
the chief of that very department that was
argue.
standing out in front of 34 Fairview when
Matter
you
of fact,
pulled
one
up.
time you were asked about this in front of a
that
grand
morning.
jury, and you said I wouldn't even call it bickering.
With his
they would just
detectives,
banter together.
they were at the location.
so,
They weren't
yes.
standing
You
outside. They
never
were
heard Mr. O'Keefe complain
in their
about
vehicles because it was raining really
Miss
heavily.
Reed or vice versa.
Can we end this?
We can.
No,
We can,
I
Your
did
Honor.
hear him
Sure.
complain about like when when Karen
you.
would buy like
Ah,
very nice things for the kids, like he wouldn't like that, stuff like that, or take the kids to get their nails done or something like that.
So maybe spoiling children.
Yes, yes,
Certainly nothing to suggest that there was any abuse or anything like that. It was just a matter of fact.
correct, correct.
Mr. O'Keefe had an idea about how to raise children that was maybe a little bit
How do I
more
get back up?
modest than Miss Reed did.
Correct.
So you
Where am
described
I?
earlier at another hearing, you
I
described
don't know
a
where I am.
situation in
Oh,
which
there I am.
Miss
Can
Reed
you hear me?
got a very
Wrong
expensive
one.
sweater for
Nope.
Mr. O'Keefe's niece.
Correct.
I don't know which one I'm talking to.
Response was, "Boy, I wish she hadn't
Maybe
done
it's
that.
that one.
That's spoiling that little girl."
Yes.
Unmute.
You
Hello.
agree there are worse things in the world than spoiling a child.
Correct.
I'll let
I
it
don't know
stand.
which one I am on here.
Um,
Hang on, I'll move.
you never heard Mr. O'Keefe even hint at the idea of breaking up with Miss Reed.
Not that I can recall.
I want to turn your attention to January 28th, if I could. We saw a video, and you explained what was happening in the video.
Can you hear me
some
now?
cars were being jostled
Oh,
around.
thank goodness. Now I can see.
That was Mr.
I can see
O'Keefe
something moving.
actually moving his
I
car
couldn't work
to
out which one.
facilitate Miss Reed bringing her car over to his house to put into
See
garage,
what I put
correct?
on stage
Yes.
to say goodbye.
A chivalrous thing to do for your
Righto then.
brother-in-law.
Well,
Yes.
far out Brussels
Didn't want
sprouts.
her to be out in the snow if it was going to be a heavy snow. Is that
That's
right?
fun.
Correct.
And the idea was that even that weekend, he intended that Miss Reed would
yep.
likely be with him and the family
Awesome.
for the entirety of the weekend during
So,
the blizzard.
Correct.
she had a nice warm place and a
Day
dry place
13
for her.
tomorrow.
Yes.
And it looks like we've got Bukaki back on the stand. And who knows how long it's going to take. Undercross
You
because
saw a
they're
video
just
that
cagey
Mr. Lally
motherfuckers.
played for you of the moment. There's several videos, but I want to direct
So
your
I'm
attention
tipping that either
to the
Tully
memory.
or
The
Proctor will
video
probably be
of
up
when Miss
next.
Reed
I'm
actually made her
guessing.
way
I don't know.
into McCarthy's.
Who knows with Hank? They're
Yes.
just shuffled everywhere.
You have that scene in your mind.
So tomorrow is
You
Friday
saw in the
for you
video
guys. Today
when
is
Miss
Friday
Reed
for
actually
me.
walked into
And it's
the
Teddy's birthday.
location.
So
how
if you
Miss
see
Reed
her
and
or if you
Mr.
bump into her on
O'Keefe
Discord or send her a
Objection.
message or an email
I'll
just to
allow
wish
it.
her a happy birthday.
Yes.
I'll be out to dinner with her this evening.
It appeared that that was quite an affectionate greeting.
But I will be back.
Do you agree?
Objection.
It'll probably be a
Do you agree with
later
that?
They kissed.
stream.
Would you
So,
consider
but
it
that's
this
all right.
affectionate?
Yes.
All good.
They
Okay.
hug each other.
Same time, well, not same time, but same place, same bat channel.
I don't recall.
And stay the
He
fuck
puts his
away
right
from
arm out
Hank
and
Brennan,
Miss
America.
Reed sort
Love
of
yous
nestled
all.
into his
Mwah.
embrace,
Okay.
and that's when he kissed her.
Yes.
They seemed happy.
Yes.
And so much has passed us by. Such a scattering with evidence and some blatant flat out lies.
You didn't observe them arguing or bickering between the two.
No.
But that they were the normal affectionate lack
I bet he wears those silky undies, the ones with that chain made of lace.
Yes.
So you can bring in Massachusetts, cause we all ain't got no quit. And we all
Not that I
know
recall.
that the truth is my car
I
is
wanted to
not
ask
the
a couple
thing
of
John
more
hit.
questions. During the span of time that you knew them to be together, would you describe their relationship as being normal and caring?
Objection.
I'll sustain that.
I want to just draw your attention to the month before Mr. O'Keefe's passing. Would you describe their relationship to be normal as far as you knew it to be?
Yes.
And on the day before Mr. O'Keefe's passing, would you describe their interactions to be normal and caring and affectionate?
Yes.
That's all I have here. Thank you.
Okay. Anything, Mr. Lally?
No redirect, John.
All right, Mr. Camerano, thank you very much. You're all set, sir. All right, jurors, why don't we take our morning recess? We'll take 15, 20 minutes.
Jurors, if you'd fold and close your notebooks, placing them on your chairs, taking your belongings.